Right. So yeah, for the last few weeks, we've been playing Free League's Vaesen on stream with these lovely people here. We did do an offline game before that with a few other players, namely Strain, Dave, who is in chat at the moment,
Brian and Fritz. Yeah, Fritz and Brian.
And so we can maybe talk about that a little bit later. But I imagine, Strain, that your memory, much like mine, has probably kind of erased all of that by now.
I have notes.
He's got notes. Oh, goody.
It's from a different game, but you know,
I like how you're saying that about your memory with your glass in your hand.
Oh, yeah. It's purely to do with the memory.
It's medicinal.
It is. Anti-poo. Oh, that's weak. Anyway, we we have been playing Vaesen for the past few weeks, which is the game of Nordic horror by Free League Publishing. It's a gorgeous book. The artwork is fantastic in it, so go check that out. But I think we've had fun. I think we've had fun playing it. It's been good. Anyway, we wrapped up the adventure last week, and it was a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't a happy ending, I don't think, was it?
We didn't
that must be a Vaesen thing then, because on the offline adventure we had a player die.
Well, it wasn't a player. Hopefully, it was a character.
Well, it was a character. Could have been a player. Yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think I'm going to come back to that because I think that was one of the issues I'd had with the adventure. Actually, well, we'll come back to that in a bit. For now, I think what we should do is we should kind of look at the game is very, very much set up for kind of campaign play. There's opportunities for the characters to develop, and also for them to develop the headquarters. This Castle Hillenkreuz is the default HQ for the society in Vaesen. And I get to ask the players a few questions, and depending on whether they answer yes or no, yes or no.
No.
I'm in Scotland already, and whether they say yay or no, they get a development point, and they get to spend these development points upgrading features of Hillenkreuz, and adding bits onto it. And it's not just like equipment or rooms and things like that. They can add personnel. They already have a butler called Albert Frist, who comes with the castle by default, but they get to add a few other bits. And so we'll go through that. But first, I think there were two characters quite seriously injured at the end of the last game. One of them being Valdis, played by Tony, who was the hunter. And she got a bit of a kicking, and ended up, I believe, with a torn abdomen. I think was the critical you rolled.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 hours or something to survive.
Yeah, and that's right. And unfortunately, because you had a fake doctor with you, or a fuckter, as I like to call them.
That sounds dodgy.
She did a fantastic job either way.
She did an amazing job. And in fact, Ingrid was so good at this that I think you rolled more than one success. So we basically said, you fix up both of these people before they expire, because we were that impressed. It was an extraordinary roll. She fucked it. Yeah, she certainly did.
I suppose saying I had help probably wouldn't help make this any better, would it?
I don't think so. No. I think it was. Yeah, to say you had assistance with the factoring would be. I don't know. It sounds a little bit odd. So
yeah,
it was a really good roll, and there was multiple successes, which meant that we allowed Vlad, who was I think he's ruptured his bowels, which isn't it's not as funny as it sounds.
Still intact.
They were, apparently.
Yeah.
So I think Ingrid basically shoved them back in.
He wasn't using them at the time.
No, fortunately, although he was quite frightened. And so there's a very serious risk of Vlad ending up using a colostomy bag, which will have an effect on his character in terms of the stats, like a -1 agility, I think it is for that.
At least he wore the brown pants.
Well, anyway, not to make light of these kind of problems. Ingrid did this role and saved his life. He had, I think, about a couple of hours, I think, before he would have expired. And I think, Vlad, you did make a physical recovery roll at the end of last session. And because you've made it, I'm not going to make you roll that again because you succeeded. Yay! You actually got 2 successes, but it just means that you can remove that critical injury from your character sheet. It's not permanent, which is fantastic.
In my defense, I thought I was rolling for Cholera, my dog, not for me. But I am very happy with the results.
So you can remove that injury from your character sheet. Valdis, on the other hand, you have suffered a torn abdomen.
Yes.
Now, one of the things about Vaesen is that when you receive a critical injury, whether it be a mental or a physical injury, some of them, there's a chance of you developing like a supernatural power for whatever reason. And Valdis, this torn abdomen, it actually gives you a supernatural power. Now, you get to make a physical, it's a very good one as well. I think it's like supernatural focus, which, as you are a hunter, this gives you +3 bonus dice to your ranged combat. Which is great, except now you've got to make a physical recovery roll. And if you score a success, you can make that permanent.
Okay.
So you will always have it. If you do not score any successes, it goes away, which is unfortunate because you got it right at the end of the adventure, which never got to.
I know.
So there is actually a button on your character sheet, which is for physical recovery.
Oh yeah.
Right down at the bottom there, above the conditions, physical conditions. So if you want to click on that,
let's roll.
Yeah. And you got a success.
Yes.
So you get to choose whether you want to make that particular thing permanent, whether you want to get rid of it. What are you going to choose? Do you want the supernatural power or not?
I think in certain cases that may help. So, +3, I think I can work with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's insane, really, though.
Yes.
You'll be rolling
Especially
8.
specifically.
Yeah. I mean, how? It was random. It was totally random as well, which was amazing.
Yes.
So you get to keep that, and Vlad, you get to not need the bag, which is probably quite good, Vlad, really.
It is
enough that I carry one satchel with all my books. Well, some of my books. I couldn't carry all of them, heavens forbid. It is very lucky that I don't need another bag and to get confused between them. Would you like to read one of my books? Oh, no, that's not the one.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So
you are all saved from that type of comedic accident.
We're all grateful. We're incredibly grateful for that.
However, the material might be the same from both.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Vlad very much resembles that comment.
Sorry, that was a bit naughty.
We were all thinking something along those lines, I think.
So
wow.
Do I need to move this effect anywhere? I'll just leave it there.
No, you're just going to keep it on your sheet.
Okay.
You just get to keep it on your sheet, which is cool. Very useful. Okay, So we've done that. I think what we'll do next is we'll have a look at the experience points for each of your characters. Now, I did put something in Discord during the week, and you all answered it, but we'll just go through that anyway. So anybody in chat can hear the decisions that you have made.
Is everybody frantically looking for what they wrote?
So, I mean, who should we start with? Who shall we start with? Let's start with. We'll start with. Well, he's kind of on the screen. He's top left. I'm going to go with Jake then to start with. Now, the first question that you get asked, because you're supposed to do this at the end of every session, but I didn't want to kind of waste the time of the session with doing this at the end. So the first question is, did you participate in the session? Now, we did 5 of these sessions, and you participated in all 5 of them, did you not, Jake?
Try to keep me away.
Excellent. That's the right answer. You get bonus.
We tried.
Bless you. So you're going to get 5 experience.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
You do, because it's
generous.
1 per session.
Oh,
Very
nice.
generous. Yeah.
Wow.
Which, it's cool. So you've got 5 for that. You also then, I have to ask you, did you confront any Vaesen during the adventure?
Yes, but not quite on purpose. It was more an accident, I believe. An accident of circumstance. Now,
I don't think it distinguishes. So are we going to answer yes to that one?
Yes, we are answering yes.
Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? Now, this is a weird question, isn't it?
Unknown to myself.
Because that's the thing, is none of you have encountered any yet. So I think that's going to be a yes by default, right?
Yes. Do we know what type other than watery Vaesen?
Oh, I mean, mermaid, I think, was pretty... Yeah, I think that was definitely a...
And boy.
And a child of the sea. Were you affected by your dark secret?
I didn't work that.
Not this time. Maybe next time. Did you take risks to protect other people?
Now that we have a twin coming into the next session, it might actually come into play. My dark secret. Maybe. Oh, no.
Got a thing for twins.
So, did you take risks to protect other people then, Vlad?
Well, I consider my books like people because books are knowledge and they pass on. I did everything to protect my books.
That's a no then.
I valiantly grabbed a knife that was left on the battlefield and I crawled forward saying, it is just a flesh wound. And I crawled forward and I did try to protect other people.
Yeah, I think you. So you get an extra experience point for that. Have you learned anything? Or did Vlad learn anything? Which is quite an ambiguous question, isn't it?
Was there a new book you could write?
What did Vlad learn?
Yes, I definitely have materials for new books. But Vlad has learned many things. This effect on the cologne was a very interesting thing and one that I would not have thought of. So I shall be careful amongst very smelly people to wonder what is it that...
It's good advice in general, though, right?
Yes. What are they trying to hide? I have learned to also become suspicious of things that change very quickly, like islands that are seen sometimes, sometimes not. Sometimes they're seen, but not in the same place that they were seen last time. Which islands don't generally do that, I don't think.
No. Okay, so 1 XP for you for that one.
Yeah.
And did you develop something in your HQ?
No. However, I did. I would never admit to leaving one of my books there, but I did discover one of my books there at least, and I'm sure I will discover more. But no, I did not really develop something.
Did you perform an extraordinary action?
This is quite difficult. I think the extraordinary action will come later when I finish my book about this island.
Now, I don't know. I mean, any other players can jump in here as well. If you can think of something that you thought that a character did that was like an extraordinary action, that's cool. Or answer any of these questions.
So what do they mean by an extraordinary action?
Well, that's it. It doesn't say. It doesn't specify. So I think
because I did that one shot on that guy, didn't I? I one-shotted that guy.
It is. But we're talking about Vlad right now.
Yes, I think had I succeeded in convincing Abella that I was indeed Paul, that might have been an extraordinary action.
What about his magnificent decoy routine?
His what? Sorry.
His decoy routine with the chambermaid.
The toilet.
That definitely wasn't ordinary.
It was extraordinary.
Well, ordinary idiocy counts in these cases.
I mean, in that regard, I mean, the thing about that, although it was probably a bit daft, it did. The fact was that Roland at that point had been detected by the maid, and you may not have realised this, but if Vlad hadn't done what he'd done, then the alarm may have been raised. Whether it's an extraordinary action, I don't know. I would be tending to put forward the idea that the attempt to pretend to be Paul, might be considered. I mean, because it partially worked.
It did.
It confused them long enough. Well, for a short period of time anyway. And I think if we hadn't had the unfortunate fear roll from Valdis, then that might have gone very different way. So I think I'd be tempted to put that as your extraordinary.
But, on the other hand, confusing people is what I do normally in any case. My own party members are often confused by my statements and what.
So you're saying it was an ordinary?
It was probably a very ordinary Vlad thing, but extraordinary, maybe given the circumstances.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. So give yourself an.
All right.
So you should have a total of, I think it's 10. I think we worked out last time. Is that Barry?
Count. 9.
Maths.
9.
9.
9.
Okay.
9.
Okay.
9. No, 10 with the learning things. You're right.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. Okay. It's all right.
All right. 10's the number to beat, guys.
Okay. So
I'm in the lead.
Tony. Valdis. Now, Valdis, you participated in all 5 sessions. You get yourselves 5 experience points.
Nice.
And the same question apply. Did you confront any Vaesen?
Yes.
Yeah.
A mermaid.
A bit too close.
Yes.
So 1 XP for that. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? Now, I think everybody can say yes for this time round.
Yeah.
Were you affected by your dark secret?
No.
No. Did you take risks to protect other people?
Well, I originally put but then I was thinking like what I actually did, but I don't know whether it counts when when I charged at one of the brothers because he was wailing on someone else.
I think that counts.
Yeah.
I think that counts, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds very much like protecting somebody else if you go charging into if somebody else is getting
that's what almost killed me.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Have you learned anything? Now you can have learned the same thing as Vlad.
I put that I learned that obviously mermaids and their children, obviously children of the sea, are 2 different species. And
Okay.
children of the sea can be raised as human.
There you go.
So,
Certainly, that's another XP. Did you develop something in your HQ
No.
castle? No. Did you perform an extraordinary action?
No.
You say no.
I disagree.
Let's hear this argument. Can you
I don't think
recall
we did
something?
anything.
But yeah.
I don't think we know what would be extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a superpower.
Working for upsetting Abella when we went to dinner.
Yeah. I mean, she was easy to upset.
I mean, she was already upset, to be fair, before you even started on her.
She looked like she was sucking a wasp the whole time.
She did look a little bit like a bulldog licking piss off a nettle.
Wow.
She certainly did. So, I mean, you're saying you didn't perform an extraordinary action.
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
If anybody can offer anything else up in defense of Valdis.
Found the dark stain on. I've got to read through my notes. You found the dark stain on the floor near where Roland found the crucifix and identified it as a blood stain of kind of like a nosebleed amount with no trail.
Yeah.
So, good investigating kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to accept that. Maybe we won't in the future. Maybe we'll be a little bit tougher on the extraordinary act thing, because we need to kind of define that if we play again.
Well, now
I
we
guess.
know that it's like achievable. We will maybe think a little bit more about.
Yeah,
Do
maybe
it.
you'll,
If there's anything you do that stands out, like
yeah, okay.
it doesn't have to be like you single-handedly wrestled, like, I don't know, like a merman to the ground or something
No,
while riding a bear.
You did charge a cluster of 3 enemies.
But that would have been good entertainment, though. Riding the bear, charging the men, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Would have been good
The charge of
entertainment.
the Veldis Brigade.
So I think you can give yourself an XP there. I think that's a good argument,
Okay, cool.
and that's that. I think you're on 10 as well for that.
Yeah. 10.
Lloyd, logical
Hey.
boom. Roland. Now, tell me, did you participate in the session?
Mostly.
He was COVID ridden for a while.
He was.
Yeah,
He
I
was.
couldn't talk. For the beginning of it, I couldn't really talk.
No,
But then I did
mean,
make sure the adventure happened. So.
Yeah,
I think he should get a
that would
point
be an
for each
extraordinary
one.
action. Right? That's an extraordinary action right there.
Every time he handles audio-visual, he's got to get a point for that at least.
Nah, it's a thankless task. Like
It is a
Jack.
thing to
That's
start remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't thank you for that.
So definitely not. So you get 5 points for participating, or at least very nearly participating in every session.
I like that we get participation awards. Very cool.
It is.
Get a little
it's nice.
trophy for every
Yeah.
5 sessions.
It's kind of like, oh, thanks for showing up, guys. Yeah. Did you confront any of Vaesen, Roland?
Yes,
You did.
unless I was on a very different adventure to everybody else.
I think you probably were, but I think that was the medication, to be fair.
Yeah, probably.
Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen?
Yeah, other mermaids and
Mermaids and things.
etc.
Were you
Zacharias.
affected by your dark secret?
No, but I would have worked it into the bit where he got angry, because that would have been quite a cool thing to do. But then, I completely forgot about it.
But that's okay, because I've had an idea.
Yeah,
I've had an idea, and so if we play again, I might bring that idea in.
yeah. If I'd remember, that could have been quite a fun twist to the just in general. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So I think, yeah, definitely. Did you take risk to protect other people?
Yes, I
The sneaky.
Well, yeah, I did the sneaking to
Yeah, you
try and
did.
make sure no one else had to,
Yeah.
and also to try and find stuff to help my team. And as my extraordinary action, I did it completely undetected.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of these things. It's like if Roland perceived that to be the case, then sure.
I mean, there's only one person, well, and a handmaid that knows that he was detected. Roland doesn't know he was detected. I don't think most of the party knows he was detected.
And I think the rest of the party detected you.
They detected something.
Yeah. But beside the point, yes, you certainly do get your taking risks to protect others. You can have your point for that. Have you learned anything?
Yes.
Apart from the fact that
Blood right plus a book.
Foundry is very, very cool with its rolls.
I may just stick to physical dice from now on. I've given up on virtual dice.
No, you did, yeah. And Roland was the first one to learn about the reefs and stuff, wasn't he? And the fact they were wreckers. That's what we found out with the map in the Zacharias' bedroom. Yeah. And he inadvertently discovered that Zacharias was a child of the sea, though he didn't realize it at the time, so it doesn't count. But
suspected. But, we never really got any proof.
No, but the wreckers thing is definitely a point for Roland. Did you develop something in your HQ? Oh, sorry.
I also learned that mermaids are allergic to types of metals.
Yeah, all metal, apparently.
Which I used to my advantage to scare off the mermaid. Because I found out they're allergic to bullets.
Yeah. Well, as most people are. Yeah. It tends to bring them out in horrible
more
allergic
blotches. Yeah. Okay, scared off a mermaid. No,
I think it's cute. I think it's cute that Roland thinks that he's scared off the mermaid.
He shot it twice. It ran away.
I mean, it wasn't the fact that perhaps that her son had just been murdered in front of her.
She didn't look that upset about it.
He just put you in the cute zone.
He thinks I'm cute.
Cute.
I do, Lloyd. Do.
Oh.
You're my special one.
That's going to have to be the new thing we play Vaesen. Who's going to get the cute moment?
Yeah. So you know what?
That's 5 bonus XP.
You know what, Lloyd? You get. Did you perform an extraordinary action? I know you think you did. So I'm going to give you a point.
I also blew the head off that guy that was trying to finish off Valdis.
You did. Yeah, definitely. Extraordinary actions all around.
Like one time, the second time in the entire fight where I hit anything.
But what a shot.
Where it counted.
I know. It was a blinder, that was.
Very few hits. We have to take each one and run with it.
Yeah. It was good stuff. So you've got that. I think did you score 10 points there as well? Experience points. Nice. And my dear wife Angie Pop.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's 2 of us in the chat now. There's Angie Poos and Angie Pops. It's 2 of me.
Yes. Anyway, you dear sweet thing, did you participate in the session?
I think I may have done.
I think you probably did in all 5 sessions, so 5 experience points for you, my dear. I mean, you're not as cute as Lloyd, but you'll do.
Oh.
Did you confront any Vaesen?
Yes. We confronted a big mermaid and a merchild adult thing.
So 1 XP for Yao. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? I mean, you're all going to get a point for this one, right?
Because we actually didn't know much about mermaids, did we? Because it was we spoke to the drunk guy. Was it the drunk guy that gave us all the information on the mermaids?
It wasn't it. But this is something else I'm going to come back to in a bit.
No, we didn't. We read a book or something. We used.
It wasn't even that. And like I say, this is something I'm going to come back to in a bit.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay then.
But were you affected by your dark secret?
No.
Did you take risks to protect other people?
Yes.
Give examples. No. Gonna take
We were
your
on the
word.
rock. There was someone. I ran to protect someone and then shoot them with my gun thing.
Gun thing,
You went
commonly
to
known
have
as a gun.
Blood. In fact, you had a lot of blood on your hands.
The V is
Did.
silent.
There was a lot of that.
And you one shot. Like,
Now I think that will trigger the extraordinary action thing for
yeah.
definite. So you get an XP for that then. Have you learned anything, Ange?
I've learned that fishing ports smell really bad, and that most people in any fishing port in any game are all rough, wrong people.
It's not a stereotype. It's true.
Yeah, and that all kind of in any game, vicars or priests or religious men are all a bit balmy.
I mean, once again, that is not a stereotype. It's true.
So we learned about that, and then we learned about the mer people and the mermaids, and herring barons like to wear aftershave, and we learned
not all herring barons.
Yeah, and we learned
unless I don't know. It's not really a type.
bits of the game that I picked out compared to all the rest of you. It's just like
yeah. Like, I tell you what, take an XP and we'll quickly move on. Did you develop something in your HQ? A cold, maybe? What?
I developed a relationship with the butler.
Did you?
Yeah, I took over his kitchen.
Fast.
Oh, you annoyed him.
I did.
He moves fast.
Yeah, you annoyed. Yeah,
She offered to help with breakfast.
she did.
She got the history.
Piss anybody
And
off.
now they're a couple.
So no, I didn't.
Okay.
So, but you know me,
I
I'll
was
try.
going to give you that.
No, I was just being daft. No,
Did you perform an extraordinary action? Now, anybody that wasn't here last week probably missed the single shot that killed the big bad in one go, in one roll.
That was the only thing I hit though, because after that, every shot that I made was like just.
Yeah. So
I know how it be.
the herring baron,
It
Zachariah
was like
Summons.
in his head.
It was. Now, it
Yes,
was a
but
shame.
You
Carry
also
on.
deafened Vlad at the same
Oh,
time. It was like
You
Yeah.
did.
my head. Boom! Got right in.
Is that an
Oh, I made
extraordinary
you
action?
deaf, didn't I? Yeah, you can.
I mean, this definitely qualifies as an extraordinary action, I think. From 20 paces, he put a bullet between the man's eyes
And he fell into the sea.
and he died instantly. Yeah, which was a shame because, you could have talked to him and maybe prevented whatever came after. But no, that's not likely either. And that's something else I'm going to come back to in a bit.
We did try talking to him. I mean, in his house having dinner, fish.
You did.
We did
You
try
did.
talking to him, and he was just very rude.
Yes.
Yeah, so we killed him.
Look, manners are a big deal.
They are. If you can't be polite to our
Particularly
investigation
in
team.
19th century Scandinavia, as we've discovered. So there's your extraordinary action. That's 1 XP for you for that. And I think that wraps that up. That's 10 points for you, again, I believe.
I'll take it as 10, but we'll check it. I didn't write anything down.
And we'll move on to... I feel a little bit bad for Strain here because
I'm having an absolute laugh at this.
Strain didn't get to play this adventure. He played the one beforehand, and unfortunately his character expired.
We
Well,
learned
just-
something about the rules, didn't we? We learned something about the
yeah.
rules.
Did learn. So you get you tell you what, take an experience points for learning something. That's because we did learn something about
I'll
the
take it.
Give him an
Yeah, if you ever
experience
resurrect that character, they can get a talent.
But he can, when we talk about the mechanics of the game, he hasn't in on that.
Yes, he probably knows them better than I do.
Yep.
You can give him an experience point for each of the sessions he's watched live or on YouTube.
Well, I mean,
You're pulling at straws there, aren't you now?
I mean, yeah, he is.
IMT, of course, we always pull at straws.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know how many of them we watched.
Well, if you watched and participated in chat and therefore contributed to the game that way, that
Jesus, Dave will have 500. Dave's going to have about 600, isn't he?
Dave has. I mean, we can't because Dave would have more points than Lloyd, and that's not acceptable.
Oh wow!
Number of sessions you participated in, not the number of lines spoken. Type.
Oh yeah.
How many sessions did we do? Did we do 3 or 2?
It was 3.
It was 3 sessions. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ingrid. Now, Ingrid, did you participate in the sessions?
I did.
You certainly did. 5 XP for you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Did you confront any Vaesen? You've already gone through these questions, haven't you? You've written them down. I can see you writing stuff.
So,
confronting Vaesen.
The rules lawyer in me is hating me, is overriding the I want all the points part of me. Define confronting. It was already technically, I hate myself. Technically, it was already in the water by the time I got anywhere close to it. So I was there.
However,
you were part of the party.
You were sneaking up on one at the time.
But well, to be fair, we were classing Zacharias as a Vaesen as well, and you.
Well, in that case, yes. Well,
yeah, I think you. You could definitely say that you did, because I mean, you had words at the supper and that, didn't you?
Yeah, I offered to do a response for him.
You certainly did. I mean, necessarily. Well, it kind of was confronting him. You were trying to almost provoke him. I think.
Doing what I wanted.
Yeah. So I'm going to say you give yourself an XP.
Yay!
Woo.
Did you identify previously?
We are jolly nice people, I've decided.
Yeah. Did you identify previously unknown Vaesen? We're going with yes for now.
Yep. Thought on that again. Apologies, rules lawyer. Not applicable here. But previously unidentified by whom? By the society, by us as a party, by us as an individual, because, sorry, this might balk a future game, but if the Vaesen that we encounter is the one that we encountered in our previous life that triggered us getting the sight, would it count? Follow the logic?
I do. And the answer to that is going to be the answer to that is I don't care. You make the decision.
I believe what's implied here is, did this occur as a member of the society, which you are now, which you were not previously?
Did you uncover a Vaesen behind the whole scheme?
Yeah, pulled the mask off and everything.
You did, and it was old.
It was a janitor all along.
So, give yourself an XP. And the lawyering stuff, no.
Sorry,
no.
It's
that for your D&D game.
Yeah, save that for you. I'm kidding. No, it's I think I'm kind of thinking about Blades in the Dark in particular here, where it's not what I think really, it's what you think when I ask you these questions.
And we're all jolly nice people, so we're going to outvote you.
That's what I'm going with. It's all very loose, and I don't think it. I think it's open to interpretation. So, I'm not going to worry about it. If you think you did, then give yourself an XP. I'm not going to make any judgment calls on that.
The more XP we get, the better castle we get.
No, because your XP are different from your development.
No.
So you can shortchange yourself as much as you want. It won't affect the castle.
I want a botanical garden.
But no, I'm going to be,
I know. I think
Ingrid has no concept of mermaids except for a memory. But
yeah, it's something you'd read because that thing I'm going to come back to. Did you perform an extraordinary action? Hell yeah!
Oh, the seance.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was extraordinary.
Yeah, the dice god smiled at us there.
You certainly did. Give yourself an XP. I've missed a couple of questions. I got too excited about the extraordinary. Were you affected by your dark secret?
Nope.
No. Did you take risks to protect other people?
Yes.
I mean, most definitely.
Went charging headlong despite being scrawny and weakling, and went and tried to stab one of the brothers.
You did. And also, I think you were doing some medical stuff on somebody, or trying to, while being under attack. So most definitely do you get that point for that.
Yeah.
Just managed to stabilize 2 critically injured patients without directly touching either of them.
Has Ingrid learned anything?
She's learned that she's not quite as much of a phony doctor as she thought she was.
There you go.
And see all previous conversations about mermaids, etc.
XP for you.
Yeah, buying into your own hype. Nothing could go wrong.
And
did you develop
successful seance? And
the seance was a blinder because that was like 3 successes, and I had. Yeah, you did actually throw me off a little bit there, so I had to have Paul come back, didn't I?
That was great.
Yeah, that was. It was a fantastic roll. Did you develop something in your HQ?
No.
I don't think anybody did this time around, did they?
No.
And then
I remember of Lord's books from the library.
And so that's it for the XP side of things, I think.
Now we can get to the DP.
And now it's the DP.
This is the bit we want.
This is the bit that Angie is upsighted about.
I am very excited about it.
Now, so I need to ask you some questions.
I think Strain got about 10 points as well. And I think Dave got about 10 points. And I know Britt did.
See, yeah, Dave, if you'd have been here, man. If only you'd been here.
He didn't get any points because he's not here. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah. You don't get the point that you missed today's session.
This is not a session. This is just a chat.
Oh, that was a trick question. It could have been.
Gathering.
To the Twitch schedule.
So, right. So after you solve a mystery, or after you return from a mystery, you get a chance to improve the Castle Hillenkreuz that we have described right in the very first session as this kind of run-down, rambling old mansion in these kind of wild grounds. It's been abandoned for years, and it's a bit of a mess.
Actually, we can just see a bit of part of the pic. It's on the screen. It's the background. That's the castle, isn't it?
Yeah, on Twitch. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you some questions now. I, as far as I'm aware, you must together answer these questions as a group, and then we're going to tot up the points, and then we get to look at upgrades for the castle, and you get to mark this on the castle's very own character sheet. We're using the official module for Foundry for this game, by the way. It's very, very good.
So Strain and Hagen can answer for their game on the then, can't they?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, I think we should do that first. Let's do that first. Strain. What do you think?
God, yes, go on.
Okay, and David, you need to chip in.
Stand to attention, David.
Did you play at least one scene at the headquarters?
We did, yes. We played one scene at the headquarters.
You did. You certainly did. So that's one DP. Did you encounter a new type of Vaesen in the game that we played? Now, we played Dance of Dreams, I think it's called. It's the actual intro.
It was Dance of Dreams. It was the one off in the village.
In the book.
Yes.
And it was quite an interesting story, wasn't it? About
it opened our eyes. It did kick the shit out of us, as Dave said. Yes.
Yeah.
But then again, we didn't know what to expect. It was totally nothing new. It was new to you as well, and we did play fast and loose with the rules, didn't we? It was fun.
We did. And you know what? I think I did this time round as well. But we won't
always good.
Yeah, it was. It was really tough, if I recall. It was. You were sent out to an inn out just 3 hours away from the town of Uppsala, and there'd been some weird goings on, hadn't there? And it turned out that the place was being haunted by a former member of the society who had been basically sacrificed.
It's Oscar Hoy.
Oscar Hjort. Yeah.
Hoy, yes. Yes, 3 members of the society. Yes, they killed Oscar, didn't they?
And they murdered the guy as a sacrifice of some kind. Yeah. And his ghost had basically come back and was seeking revenge on the society.
Yes.
And it took over the inn and the people that were staying there, and forced you were forced to kind of find the burial place of the creature and put him to rest eventually, wasn't it? That was the kind of the idea. But unfortunately, your character did go a little bit mad and topped himself, didn't he?
He passed away tragically after trying to kill one of his companions. Yeah. He was confronted by his mortality, had a horrifying realization. He did get possessed.
He did.
And yes, and according to my character, I got an eye injury as well. I don't know where I got that one from, but yeah.
But your character ended up shooting himself, I believe.
He did, yes. The terror of this revenant that we came across, and the realization that he tried to kill one, because he got possessed. The revenant possessed Samuel Robinson, was my character, a private detective, which had a rather great backstory, which we never got to explore any of it. But yes, the revenant did actually possess him, and I tried to shoot our military man.
Wow.
Yes.
Matt.
That's it. By Brit's character, yes. Fortunately, I missed.
Well, he dodged out of the way. Yeah, actually, you hit, if you remember.
Oh, no, I did hit. He did, yes.
Out of the way.
Yes.
So that was quite tense.
It was. But, you know, that's okay. These things happen. We did manage to prevent the haunting. I think we came back with some occult books as well.
I think you probably did, yeah.
Yes, and we also learnt that the society, well, it's got a bit of a checkered past.
Ooh, it certainly does. And the other characters haven't discovered that yet. So that could be interesting to explore at some point in the future. But Dave's character, Alfred Borelius, he survived.
He did, yes.
And he made it back. I think he was a bit. I think he needed some help with his. I think he was going insane or something, wasn't he? In a Call of Cthulhu style.
There was some issues with him, yes.
Yeah.
And our military man did run away halfway through, so there could have been some psychological stuff there as well.
Yeah, I think there was. But did you confront any Vaesen?
We did.
We've already done that bit. Did you encounter a new type of Vaesen? No, it's new to you.
It was new to us, the Revenant, yes.
Yeah. So I think, that will be a DP for that, wouldn't it? Did you visit a place of magic? No.
Technically, yes, because he did possess the girl and the puppet show. So, yes. Technically, for us, that would have been magic.
And the fact that where the body was buried, that was a ritualistic thing.
Yeah, it was very ritualistic.
So, give yourself a DP for that. The grave, exactly, Dave. Exactly.
The grave, yes, yeah.
Now, were you subject to magic?
I was possessed.
You certainly were.
As Dave had some issues as well. So yes, we were subjected to how we would only discern would be magical.
It definitely was. I mean, Samuel definitely was possessed.
And he just swapped sides and wasn't actually possessed. Like, oh, it's making me do it.
And that's right. So the shadow play.
Yes, shadow play did come. Yeah,
I remember listening to that bit. Yes. Yeah.
Did you bring occult books or other important items back to HQ?
I believe we brought books back. I believe there was books that were there that we did bring back. So yes.
And I technically say that perhaps Samuel's body was an important item.
Yes. Brought back.
Did you make important contact?
We made one contact. I'm looking for his name. He was.
Hired you.
He sent the message, didn't he?
Yeah, he invited you to. He did. The Dance of Dreams. Right, let's find out.
Olas Clint?
Olaus Clint. That was him. Yeah. The priest and the other invitee.
Father
Clarhead.
Father Clarhead. Nels Clarhead was the priest. But Olas Clint, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say they could give yourself a development point for that. They're racking these up.
I think they're going to rack up more than we did.
Well, that's 6 so far.
Was the mystery particularly difficult and epic?
It was very difficult. We got our asses kicked.
It was.
You know, this thing, we couldn't actually affect it. You know, it's not like a mermaid you can shoot, you know. We couldn't actually affect it. It was a bit of a nightmare, man. You know, every person in the bar in the end got possessed and was, doing terrible things. Yeah. Shocking things.
Trying to kill you. So there's another DP. And did you solve the mystery?
We did. We found out exactly what happened and that there were dark doings with the society.
Exactly. Another DP for that.
Well, that's 8.
There you go. Jesus, that wasn't bad. So now on to the second group then. Did you play at least one scene in HQ?
Yep.
We all had one at the beginning.
Yep, 1 point.
One point in total for the group, or 1 point?
No, just one point.
We can't do per scene because there was all sorts of scenes going on. Oh, no. God damn it. I'm going to have to beat them.
It said, did you play at least one scene? That's what the question asks.
I've added ours to the character sheet for the castle, by the way.
Nice one. Thank you very much. Did you encounter a new type of Vaesen?
Yes.
Yes, mermaid, yes.
It was new to you, yeah. Yeah, so there's another DP. Did you visit a place of magic?
Yes.
Yes.
I think the island was one.
Yeah, the ritual spot.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Made it magic because of sales.
Don't turn into islands without magical means, right? That's not non-magical behavior.
I mean, technically, it wasn't an island.
It was an octopus or something, wasn't it?
It was the Kraken. It was a Kraken.
The Kraken.
What, just lying there with its legs up, sunning itself to the new moon?
Now, you see, the mermaids can control all the creatures of the sea.
It was still an unnatural experience controlled by magic. Therefore,
technically, that's 2 Vaesen that we counted then. One that we were dancing around on his belly, and one that we scared off.
3.
Going to say, give yourself a DP because Red Monk's really scary.
That's scary.
To be fair, the seance made it a magical place.
I mean, there was a ritual. The whole reason we were there was because of a massive ritual thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And our boat got bashed in a magical moment thingy.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to need some BP to fix that boat.
Yeah. Well, you actually don't, because the guy that owned it died, so it don't matter.
Don't say that.
We do have to clip that bit about what Red Monk just said about the Kraken sunning up.
Mexican though.
They get that on the clip.
Now, were you subjected to magic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, lots of it.
Yeah, at least 3 of you were.
Yes.
And all of us on the ship. With that
Oh
storm.
yes, yeah. This storm was magical, wasn't it?
Well, we assume it was.
No, it was.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it was.
It stalked us.
Mm. Did you bring occult books or other important items back to HQ?
I don't
No, 'cause
even
we
think
lost
we
them all
brought
in the
our
sea.
own items back.
I think we lost everything. We lost everything in the boat.
all
We lost.
lost away.
Yeah, it was all lost. Everything. All of Vlad's bugs were gone.
No.
I mean, if those survived, I mean,
Oh no, he had his bag.
well, the
Didn't
thing is,
They were
we
handy
also-
I
flotation.
Yeah,
should
the whole
have to
bunch.
rewrite them.
he?
That was Vlad.
Didn't we
being
also
silent.
cache stuff in Roland's room like the night before we set off for all this whole? Or did we take all the stuff with us?
I have no idea. I mean, what would you have brought back? What could you have
That's
brought
maybe
back?
there's the thing about the text about what was, where did we learn the bit about the Mer?
Yeah,
children?
Oh well,
thing?
you can't talk about that yet. He told me off that. He's going to go back to that bit.
we're going to come back to that.
Can't talk about that. He says.
Yeah. I
Well, you should have asked that question first.
Did you make important contacts?
They all drowned and died. So
they all-
yeah, no, we
Whatever it
didn't.
was.
They all died, to be fair.
Everybody died,
But Jesse may turn out to be important at a later date.
but they'll be dead. Too late.
They'll turn out to be important later, won't they, Mark?
They will, most definitely.
We had that
Absolutely,
later.
they
To be
will.
fair,
You're
it's probably
100% correct, as always, Redmond.
insane later.
Yeah, have some more experience points while you're at it.
Yeah. Have 12.
Was the mystery particularly difficult and epic? We got
It
nothing
was
to
quite
judge
epic.
it by.
The final showdown was quite epic.
Of course it was epic.
It was
It's always
very
epic
difficult.
when those guys are in it. I mean, it depends by epic. Isn't like, did we have epic fun? Yes.
So I think the difficulty was more the dice rolls than the actual.
I think
challenge
probably.
of the-
I think you're. You're doing. Yeah. Anyway,
It was a difficult mystery.
We nearly had
Could
2
have
people
been-
die. That seems quite
Yeah.
challenging.
I think.
Yeah.
And
Could've
I
gone
think
so
the
many
ending
different
was
ways.
pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty epic.
Epic.
That's what I said.
Yeah, we
that's what I
had
said.
mer people, we had gunshots, we had a giant cracker.
Tsunami that came in and wiped out everything on the archipelago.
Yeah, we were in the
Yeah.
sea. We were having all kinds of strange dreams.
Yeah.
Go on then, have a DP.
We were gonna have it anyway, so just thought we'd justify it.
Yeah.
The big bird.
In fact, we're going to have 5.
It was that epic, and that
Yeah. Try and stop us.
did you solve the mystery?
Is anybody noticing these down?
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
I would have felt better
Well,
if
I
it
guess
asked, was the mystery solved? So I kind of feel like it was very Indiana Jones. It really didn't matter which,
We put a pin in it.
what we
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll come back to that point.
Yeah, technically the priest was revenged, and it probably won't happen in the same way again.
The problem with any
Definitely.
IMT investigation is like there is this thing to go down to be solved, and I think the GM more has a problem where we go, and it's like it's just like,
Well, I mean,
what the
yeah,
hell
they
would
just-
they do that for? Why are they going there? Why have they said that? Why would
I
they
mean-
even think about saying those things?
well, that's the thing. It's like solved just means you found a solution. We found a solution. You may not like our solution,
That's right. I
but
mean,
that
that's
doesn't
a
really
very,
matter.
very good point. Yeah. I mean, you found out what was causing it all, the mystery,
Yeah.
what happened to the priest. You found out what happened to the priest, which was the mystery.
Yes.
Yeah, and we got revenge for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we found out that they were sacrificing people to keep the Mer lady happy and things like that. And
DP.
yeah,
You know what? Like all throughout the mystery, we never once considered the possibility that he did shoot himself in the face. I mean, I think Lloyd may have, because I remember him mentioning something like that. But I almost didn't believe that would have been the
Once
real
again-
cause of his.
Once again, something I would like to revisit in a while.
Oh my god, I can't wait to revisit all these things he's racking up here.
Anyway. So that's it. That's all of the DP. How many did you get, folks? Did anybody?
Well,
Write it down.
6.
6.
6. 7.
Strain, can you do the honours and add 6 more on?
Okay.
14.
So you got 14 DP. Now, each of the as you may have seen, you may have seen the list of upgrades you can get for the castle. And they include facilities, contacts, and personnel. And you can spend DP to buy these things. But some of them cost more than others. Some of them require other things to have been purchased first. Like the butterfly house needs to have the botanical garden, for example.
And the botanical garden needs us to have a gardener.
Well, along with the rest of the garden, it's a garden.
Now that I won't be using a colostomy bag, I think a facilities would be something we should put in right away.
I think we need a psychiatrist contact. Because there was a lot of mental issues, and I think that the things that we see, these Vaesen that we go after, we may need some help recovering from.
Oh, I didn't look at the contacts. I just looked at the one I wanted to build.
See, there you go.
My wife,
can I offer a cheaper alternative? It is called the dungeon.
The dungeon. Harsh but fair, yes.
A cheaper alternative. It's called heroin.
So Dave, you're going to be in the dungeon, mate.
Gosh.
So
The fact that the computer room basically makes everything cheaper.
Okay, so if we look, I tell you what then, right, because this might take a while and a bit of arguing, because you did see the argument we had the other night about the spaceship we're going to have for Coriolis. This may take a while.
Nobody saw anything.
I lost, so I'm getting the botanical gardens. But so
did you want to do that off stream?
If you have time at the end, but because you want about doing like the mechanics and some bits and things like that, because I think we're going to argue for well into the early hours over.
We're not going to argue.
Me and Lloyd will be arguing. I just thought I'd put it out there now.
Yeah. Vlad feels very passionately about an infirmary, and anybody who does not vote for the infirmary, he shall have cholera bite them, which will require them to go see the infirmary.
Or Red Monk's medical training.
Ingrid's going to be arguing for the seance room.
We also do have a doctor as well. Dave is a doctor. Yes.
Alfred Aurelius was a doctor, and
so I can see good benefit for the infirmary and the psychiatrist to put us back together mentally and physically.
I can't see infirmary on the list.
Yeah, I'm glad we've narrowed the field by having at least one option for every person in the chat.
No, but at least with Dave being a doctor, we don't need to expend the resources.
I've lost that thing now.
So that
lost the thing. What thing?
Castle thingy.
That you so with the
Thank you.
Oh, so the cost is the DP, yes?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the resources when that's a prerequisite?
I think one of you has got to have a resource level of 5.
Goodness. Matthew has a resource value of 5. Oh,
nice.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Here's the wealthy one.
Now, the other thing that I need to mention about this is when you spend those DP, I get a chance to roll to generate a threat to the society. And the number of dice I get to roll is equal to the number of DP you spend on a particular item. So if you decide you wanted the Forgotten Gallery and spent 6 DP on it, I get to roll 6 dice. If I get a success, I get to stick a threat on you guys.
I like it.
I do that for every item that you buy.
I was a
Do you mind
forgotten
doing the
gallery.
rolls on
That sounds
Roll20?
amazing. I don't care, as long as we have a nice castle. And I want to get rid of the rats and the mice and the furniture. Is there anything about us buying furniture, by the way?
No. Goodbye facilities.
Squeaky sofas. We're stuck with them.
Wow.
What about the Annals of the Society?
Yeah.
We're getting caught
I
up
made
on
sure I
things.
pronounced that right.
Yeah, the Annals of the Society.
I like that. That's good because we can have good things said about those that have passed.
Oh, I thought he was going to say it has a nice ring to it.
No, I'll let you be the smutty one.
Yeah.
Goodness me. Oh,
Oh, blimey. Okay, we'll do this in a minute. So let's go on to the mechanics, Marky. Because
That's already recording these annals.
Annals. Mm. An annal. An annal.
It's like fingerprinting, but different.
Wonder where that was going when you first few words there.
actually, that one is a good one because at the end of the game, the player can record the party's experience, granting each player character one additional experience point.
Pretty neat, right?
That's a pretty good one, actually.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's one that you will see the most benefit by doing it early on.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, I just realised something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I've given you all XP, but I haven't told you what you can spend them on.
We're looking
We're
at
busy
that.
talking about the castle.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's more interested in the castle.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Go to the mechanics, because I want to know all these things that you keep saying. I'll get to that
an
in a
upgrade?
minute.
It wasn't the mechanics so much. I mean, the mechanics is just Year Zero engine. It's Free
What?
League's kind of the Year Zero engine. It's Free League's standard system, which they use for just about all of their games. It's pretty robust, right? Pretty good system, I think.
We play enough Free League games to must be happy about it somewhere along the lines.
Yeah, I'm actually Ingrid. It's Ingrid, Red Monk. Is this the first Free League game you've played?
Yes.
It is. I mean, we probably didn't really use this system that much, really. But how do you think it? Do you think it was okay?
I liked it. It's coming from D&D and being a rules lawyer and liking things written down. I like to know what the rules are. I like them to be precise so that I can argue against them and make them do what I want. You may have been on the receiving end of this a lot. I feel sorry for Croy. He's still got it to come.
Actually, you didn't
Be harsh with him.
You didn't
Be harsh with him.
about the rules, did you? I don't
Because we
think
don't do rules.
Well, it's not so much doing the rules. It's
we didn't
looking
really.
at the loopholes and arguing around them and coming up with creative justification as to why I should get exactly what I want. As I say, feel sorry for Croy.
It
But
has received Susie's stamp of approval.
yeah, I've had fun. It's been really good fun.
I think it's very light, isn't it? Really, I mean, compared to something like D&D as well, I think there's probably not a lot that you can argue around. Maybe would that be a fair assessment?
Well, it's basically you decide what you're going to do, and then you basically say, "Well, I'm going to use this skill." And it's almost like a justification of why you're doing what you're doing, and basically, I'm going to do this, and so I'm going to use investigation on it, and I'm going to use investigation because of.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, like at the end of the last game, being able to well, Angie and I totally overriding Dave in chat and being determined that he was typing 2, not 1. And then the pair of us together overriding Mark into the fact that I was going to get 2 bonus dice, not 1. Slight manipulation. But then rolling 2 successes and going, okay, now I've got 2 successes, well, I've got 2 injured people.
3.
Did I roll 3 on that?
You were on the. No, this is the medical, right?
This was the medical one.
Yes.
At the end.
That was 2. Yeah, the sales.
Yeah, and so this was then kind of like, right, okay, I've now got 2 successes, I've got 2 injured people, I've got 2 people helping me.
Yeah.
I'm now going to go back and retcon the whole thing to make this fit so I can once again get what I want, which is both people being repaired.
Yeah.
So that side of it, I love.
Yeah, I don't know if that was that was probably not rules, but
I like it because it's like you get to RP out a situation with some kind of very loose justification on a roll, and I mean some of our justifications were a little bit. we do, which is good with us because we will justify anything. You've just seen us do our XP. But it's like, but you still have that jeopardy then, because even though we've loosely gone, I'm going to use it because of, and we've lied basically to just get a roll, we can still roll bong.
I mean, well, that was the thing, wasn't it? I mean, there are times when you're rolling like 8 6-sided dice, you would expect at least one of them to come up 6, but how many times did we not get any?
I don't know.
I don't
like to think about it.
Lloyd knows more than any of them, to be honest.
Didn't someone roll 7 and not get a single success?
Yeah.
Probably.
And that happened more than once. Which I think, if you're looking at the chart, I think all of the Free League books, they actually have a chart of the probabilities depending on the number of dice you get. And having 7 dice or whatever is like, it's an 84% chance or something like that. I'm pulling numbers out of the air. But there's so many times that it came up with no successes. It was quite frightening, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, put it this way, I managed to learn what I was doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think the
I don't like games where the rules guide the story. It's a win for me.
Yeah.
I learned that not succeeding does not equate failing.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Gives you another story arc, really.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the failing is fun, more fun than succeeding.
Yeah, I do like the way. You have to justify what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then if you don't succeed in this, like whatever happened, try and find a different way rather than like what tends to happen in D&D, which is you just keep trying the same thing over and over again until you roll high enough.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's quite cool. I mean, it specifically states as well that you make the roll. You only make the roll once. So if you were sneaking into the house, you only made one stealth roll. You didn't have to keep making it every time you went to a different room or anything like that. That was just, it specifically states, nope, just one roll. They either succeed or they fail. And that I quite like that. We didn't, I was kind of going through, we did, there was quite a lot of rolls that went on, but I don't think there was, when I was playing it, I wasn't really aware that we were making lots of rolls at any point.
It didn't dominate the game, which is, I think, the difference. Like, if you go, I know we keep referring back to D&D, but, like, if you go into a fight in D&D, it's literally you roll, you roll, you roll, you roll, you roll, and that's how a fight goes. Whereas this one, we were able to, like, describe a situation, role play it out, and then do the dice and go, okay, I failed or I succeeded. It wasn't what pushed the fight or pushed the game. It was what happened in the game. It was the result kind of thing.
You're talking about the push as well. The fact that you can push the roll if you're willing to take.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't work out very well, does it?
There's a consequence for pushing the roll, and that's what's good. And again, combat, unlike going back again to D&D, combat in all of the Free Leagues games is actually quite deadly.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, you we've seen it. It's very, very deadly how it works, and I like that there is jeopardy for doing these things. It makes us want to role play more. Yeah. Rather than resulting to a D&D, I'm going to hit you for 50 hit points, I'm going to hit you for 50 hit points, I'm going to take a hit for 50 hit points, blah, 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 blah,
we get
blah.
disembowelment and spilled guts.
You look in the past, and we did the Alien game, and you pushed someone off a ladder. They fell down, and we rolled a critical injury, and it was smashed their head open. It was beautiful. This is the same.
Except, I did it to Jake, and I feel really bad about it because Jake's like the nicest person on earth.
This incident keeps getting brought up quite a lot, doesn't it? The way you bullied Jake and killed him.
I think basically that you're trying to make me relive the trauma. That's what.
Yeah, I was honored to have a proper alien's death, not like somebody else that just died at the end. I got a proper death, and I'm proud of it, and I wear that like a badge of honor.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. I think if there was one thing that I think I'm not sure about with the combat in particular in Vaesen, in the Free League games, it's the conditions. Like when you're trying to, it's like you get into a fight with somebody, you've got the choice of exhausted, battered, or wounded.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find it a little bit weird trying to justify like an exhausted condition when you've been shot or something like that. Or I think it's probably more with the mental conditions. Like, I mean, Vlad failed a roll, and the only condition that we could think of was angry. The mental condition.
Yeah, that was mine where I was trying to shoot repeatedly, and that's because I was the thing I could only think of made sense. Yeah,
it made
but
sense.
Like none of the others worked, and I would just be like, that's why I wouldn't bother with anything else.
But it kind of made sense with Roland and getting frustrated at that point with not hitting. But Vlad was trying to convince the housemaid to show him where the bathroom was.
Not one of my more proud moments, but
and you pushed the roll, and then we had to give you a condition. But what condition? It was a mental condition. But what could it? And that was I find that a bit weird.
Well, no, because in that situation, he could be angry because he couldn't do the persuasion, or he could feel hopelessness because it's like, oh God, I'm just not going to get this to work.
Yeah, but like a debilitating level of hopelessness because you had a bad conversation with someone outside the toilet.
Well, no, because it could be the hopelessness of like, oh my God, I really need to do this to help because I don't want Roland to be upstairs and I don't want him to get caught, or I don't want the guys in the thing. It's like I'm doing my best, and I get it.
I think if it was as soft as like the other parts of the game, there was more free form of like what the condition was, and like you could apply it to something that actually makes sense for what's happening.
Yeah,
it would work better. Having the 4 options is limited. I would love. It would completely destroy the mood of the game, but I would love it if you went to the bathroom with like the handmaid and came back a broken man. Like, what did she do to you?
I really did have to lash out at her after being angry. And if you think about it, you can really only suffer 3 conditions, not 4.
Yeah,
because the fourth one is just broken. So I kind of just figured if nothing else makes sense, do it in the order in which they're there, which is it's not alphabetical, so it's in that order for a reason.
Yeah,
it could have been very frightened that Roland was going to be discovered.
I know, but would it? But this is like a debilitating thing.
Yeah,
and
like a panic attack or something.
Yeah, like that. I don't know. Anyway, it just felt a bit weird.
It's quite harsh in Vaesen. You've got that. It makes you not want to push, which is reality. Yeah. In reality, that is part of the Free League. You want to roll as minimal times you have to.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean the other games that we've got, it's all stress, isn't it?
Yeah,
we've got stress in Twilight, stress in Aliens, Blade Runner. It's stress, I believe. I don't know about Cymberan, Coriolis. It's not conditions like this. So yeah. Interesting.
And it's the one point that made me not like being Vlad was when I got angry at the housemaid and I lashed out at her and I felt, wow, this is really tough for me to role play because I can't do this. I can't. So I really
you're the nicest person on earth.
After that, I couldn't. It was the only logical thing I can think of, but it made me hugely uncomfortable as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say being angry does not necessarily mean you have to be angry at somebody. You could manifest it in another way. You could be angry that you have got caught and you're not getting your own way. And so you take it out on the other person with snidey little comments or belittling them, or which I know
you in prose.
Yeah, which you could have read one of your books.
It could have
One
been
that
worse.
was the worst.
It could have been worse. You could have took it out on the dog, and then, geez, man, can you imagine? Anyway.
No, that wouldn't have been allowed.
X-card.
Yeah. So that
But
was,
anyway, for me, Free League system it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's open to interpretation. It allows us as players to really focus on the role playing. It allows the person running the game to again focus on the story, which is, I think, what. Well, I know I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I know most of you guys do as well.
Yeah, I do like it. I thought it was great, and I like the Vaesen in particular. I quite like the all the background and the fluff that kind of comes with it. I think that's quite cool. Like, it's a little bit different, with the setting as well. I mean, it'd be interesting to see when the Mythic Britain book comes out, because then you've got the whole Scandinavian kind of aspect of the game, which I don't know, maybe that's one of the big draws to the game, because it's a little bit different in that regard, maybe.
But for me, it's Victorian.
It doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're an alien race or anything like that. It's just.
But the sense of discovery and figuring out the mystery through the dialogue with the players, as opposed to we open a door, we investigate, we find a clue. The clues are actually found by speaking to the people, and it brings an extra life to the game, rather than we found a blood spot, in the fishery. Okay, that was exciting, and that was also very interesting. But I think it was only interesting because we discovered so much more just by interacting with the people.
Yeah, that by itself would have been pretty mundane, I suppose, wouldn't it? Yeah, I know what you mean. That's why I like Gumshoe, I think, is because for that very reason. The Gumshoe games we've played has that same thing where you role play out, you're going to get the clue, but you just got to describe how you're going to get the clue, what it is you're doing. And I suppose this is kind of similar in that regard. And yeah, I really thought, I like the system. I like it a lot. I like the fact that it's very light. It didn't get in the way of the game at all, except maybe on the last session we did. I'll come back to that.
Stop saying that.
But I thought it was really good. I really liked
20 to 11. You said you're going to come back to about four things now.
Okay. So the adventure itself. This is the bit that Now I had a few issues with the adventure itself as written. Now this is all part of the scenario collection, A Wicked Secret, which is published by Free League, and it's for quite detailed adventures in there. And this is the first one. This is the first one that I've not read the others yet. This was the first one I looked at, and it was the first one in the book. And I just thought there was a couple of things that I had issues with, which maybe if I'd have spent a bit more time thinking about it, I might have been able to get around. But the first one was the invitation. Now, every Vaesen scenario, it starts with an invitation where the society are invited to come and deal with this mystery. And I thought with this one, there's nothing in the invitation to indicate there's anything supernatural going on. It just seems like a bit of a weird way to. Yeah. The only reason the players come along is because they know it's a game of Vaesen, and so therefore it must be.
That's why I was kind of playing it mundane. It start with the mundane explanation, because
which is great.
That's all you know. But it's because.
But why would the society?
Why would you bother? Yeah,
because because when we worked our way around that in the game, because it's like this guy invited us because he knew what our society was and what their drive was, and then we're there to find Vaesen and stuff like that. So
that was the point. There's nothing that has occurred up to that point that could indicate there was anything supernatural going on. His friend had been found washed up on a beach and with a gunshot to the head.
It wasn't even a police case.
No. And so why contact the society? I found that a little bit contrived and a bit weird. And it's the fact is that I knew we were going to play the adventure because
maybe what could have been pursued is just like one line in the invitation to say, there's been talk of mer people around the area or something, and I think their death could have been suspicious. Just a simple line like that would have. Yeah,
I kind of had to make something a bit.
Something that involved like maybe finding, herrings, a live herring on his body, even though it was out of water, or something like that might have given some tie-in to something mysterious.
Like an artifact or relic, like something that wouldn't be.
Some kind of marking on him or something.
It was a little tenuous that,
a giant sucker mark.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It's like, I've tried to get all the police and investigators to look into it. They won't. So, I'll go to the society now.
Yeah.
There's also that thing, like, it's really early in your, like, because it's like, if it's one of your first adventures, you potentially haven't established yourselves enough to be like, a random vicar may have heard of you wanting to do these sort of cases.
Yeah. I
suppose there's a little bit of that in any role-playing games, though. You have to do a little bit of hand waving to start off with, because it's like, every role-playing game is you've been invited here, you've been asked to do this, to save this, to go there. So there's always that element of, I've seen games where, the GM wants you to do this game and you got this thing to plan out, and somebody will stand and argue, well, why would we go here? Why would we do this?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you haven't got a game. You know what I mean? You've got to move into the game somehow. And I think the beginning few invitations can be a bit of a stumbling block, but as role players, you just have to go, we just go, let's jump in and go with it and forget about that tenuous little link there. Because, I've seen very awkward players sitting and argue with the GM about an invitation for an investigation. Them going, well, why would we go there? Why would we do this? And we wouldn't do that. And it's like, because if you don't, there's no game.
That's like a valid question. Like, it's a lot of cases where like stuff like this, especially like films or whatever, it's like it typically is a thing that you get an invitation to go somewhere, and then the strange stuff happens around you being there for like a general reason, rather than like, oh, you need to come here because it's secretly secretly supernatural, but no one knows at all.
Yeah. So that was one of the problems I had with it. The other thing, there was a. We were talking about how you found out about the mermaid side of things.
Wrong's fault.
Well, no, this is not it. It's kind of written into the adventure that you can make a learning roll at some point after you have spoken to Zacharias. You can make a learning roll, and if you get X amount of successes, this is what you can find out. And that seemed a little bit kind of contrived as well.
Yeah.
But isn't that like the flashback thing? Like in Blades, where what was that thing that we used to do that you could roll?
Yeah, no. But to deal with a problem, you can kind of flash back and resolve the problem before it. Yeah.
So maybe that's something to do with the introduction then, because if there was a little bit more of a hint in the introduction letter or the investigation letter, we'd have liked, or may our experience now as investigators, if we know we're going to somewhere like Shipwreck Island, as investigators we would go, well, it's a sea place, we need to know about sea Vaesen or something like that. So the next so really it's now we know how to do the investigating. When at the beginning you say what you did, there's always that question, what do you want to do prior to the investigation? What do you want to do? I remember you saying, what do you want to do in the castle? Or is there anything you want to do to prepare yourself? So now, if you say to us, the next one, we've invited to an ice place.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we would do a learning role there and be more prepared and say, well, we would go and read up books to do with ice Vaesen.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't have any evidence to point you to a specific type.
No.
So you kind of like, it did feel like the learning role was probably the biggest clue of the entire investigation, and like any other investigating things I found, like I found one of the like potential places to go, and we just sort of picked the right one.
Yeah, and that was kind of the problem, I think, that the main clue kind of revolved around a role. Now, if I'd have been a better GM, I would have prepared for that and done something else with it. But it just seemed a little bit weird that, particularly...
I think I missed the role bit. I think I just assumed that someone had found a book or something. That's why I assumed it was an object we could take back.
Unfortunately, you got 2 successes. You could either get 1, 2, or 3 successes. If you got 1, you would have had less information than you'd have done if you had rolled 2. There was a third. If you'd have got 3, there'd have been an extra bit of information as well that you could have got. But no,
we did use our one, take advantage on for that. And we really only did it after we investigated all other avenues that our collective creative minds could find for us to do. Mm-hmm. We searched everywhere. We tried to speak to everybody. And I think it was really only after that we felt we didn't have any more places that we could discover to go on our own that we decided to go ahead and make that roll. That
I think that's exactly it. Yeah. So that was a bit.
Did we in the game? Right. Did we miss something? Was there a clue elsewhere in the game that we could have picked up on? No. Because I know, like in Cthulhu, there are clues and this, that, and the other. And if you go into a certain room and you don't say, "Oh, I'm going to search the drawers," the clues in that drawer, you miss the clue. Do you know what I mean? Or you roll badly. But then the GM can then move the clue to another room. You know what I mean? You can move it around. So I'm just wondering if the clue was elsewhere, then maybe that roll would help if you've missed it. But
it wasn't any elsewhere, and I don't think there was any other way that you could think to find that information unless you happen to find a book of mermaids here. So that was a bit weird.
And this is warning spoiler question. So if you didn't watch or didn't do it, but
we'll have to put that on the YouTube thing.
I was
spoiler alert.
Curious as about the blood that we did find in the fishery.
Yeah.
We're assuming that was Carl Eric's blood.
It was the idea.
He got knocked out.
He got knocked out there to then be brought to the island, I guess.
Yeah, and he was kind of he was going to be sacrificed, but he'd hidden gun. So pulled the gun out. When the mermaid shows up, he shot himself rather than be sacrificed.
So there wasn't kind of enough clues for me to logically deduce that, if
the only good thing we had was we had Red seance. Make this amazing seance roll, which meant that I could give you all that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that it would have been very difficult for me to have got that information across to you, and you would never have known how it, unless Zacharias had ended up kind of basically doing a Bond villain thing, which I did consider before the seance had occurred, that he was going to do the whole Bond villain speech and reveal his entire plan. But fortunately, Ingrid gave us a way out by doing the seance thing, which was great. That was one of the favourite bits, I think.
We could have... Sorry, I tend to think in flowcharts and alternatives. I blame work. Thinking other ways of being able to, had we completely ballsed up, getting that learning role, and so we don't know anything about mermaids.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the kind of thing that talking to, if we'd gone and talked to fishermen,
Orvar would have, I would have to have given you everything through Orvar, I think, if you'd have failed all of that, which is okay.
Still a bit chunky.
It just means that there's like this big long bit of exposition that I have to give you, which I kind of did anyway in the end.
But would that also mean, though, at the end, we get this XP at the end, and it's like, did you discover a Vaesen? Well, no, because we could have gone all the way through there, not knowing what's going on, got to the island, saw this thing, shot it, jumped in the water, and we wouldn't have known what it was. So the question...
You saw it, so you knew.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if we had done that... Yeah.
So you'd have seen it, and that would have counted. It's just that you wouldn't have got any of the information about what had actually happened to Carl Eric at that point. And the other, which kind of leads me on to the other issue that I had with the adventure, and that's the fact that there's no way for you to win this outright. And I think that's done by design, and I kind of get it. It wouldn't bother me. I quite like the very bleak stuff. That's why I like things like Those Dark Places and the Alien game and things like that. I like the bleak end. It doesn't bother me, but I can imagine it frustrating quite a few people. There is no good outcome. You kill Zacharias, and basically the sacrifices effectively end, and the mermaid summons a massive tidal wave that destroys everything in the archipelago and kills thousands of people. Or you let it. The only way, the best outcome is to do nothing and let them carry on. By the
time you find out that that's an option, it's already too late.
Yeah, that was and
the tidal wave kind of felt like a bit of a dickish thing because it just sort of like destroys everything. There's no consequences. There's no follow up.
Yeah.
To the adventure, everything's just wiped away.
Also no evidence. So that's especially frustrating for first level, let's say society members. We did all of this, we discovered, we did it, now it's all washed away. It's everything is, what's in our heads. Nothing to see here, nothing to prove that we actually did this. But I think in Free League's defense, I think they designed this to be a 4 to 6 hour module, and that we got like 5 sessions out of it. I think that there wasn't enough content for them to kind of inside the module for us to kind of feel satisfied that we really, got everything out of like 5 sessions because, 6 hours, the mystery's over, we figured it out. But we explored so much more. We went so much more into depth. And I don't think Free League planned for that in this module.
The thing is, the good thing about that is so we all had these new characters that we all fell in love with, and we all fell in love with each other's characters and stuff like that. And then we learned the games, and like Strain, unfortunately, his character died. So now, and so like this was our first. We got pulled into this society, and we got sent out on this first investigation. So we sort of like went gun ho, like we're gonna save the world. We're gonna get these Vaesen in that. And now we've all got to come back with the fact that actually we thought we were doing right, but we killed thousands of people. So when we go on to the next one, we could write into our notes the baggage of that, of like maybe we're going to try and talk to the Vaesen more. We're not going to be so. And Strain's going to be bringing, like Hagen's going to have to deal with the fact that his partner in crime at that point died, and now his twin brother's turned up. So his twin brother's going to have that baggage that a Vaesen killed his brother, and you know what I mean. So I think now we know the game more, and we move forward to the next stage. It's going to how we investigate is going to be different. I think. Yeah, probably you're right, and I think it was. I don't mind the fact that it was bleak, that the ending was kind of bleak. I think there were the couple of issues I had was the way the adventure's written, despite the fact that the rule book says you can't fight, it's very difficult to fight Vaesen or whatever, that combat was inevitable as it's written. The idea being that you can talk to you can kill everybody on the island, as you did. All of those people died, and then tidal wave gets summoned. Blah blah blah. Or you can let them carry on. But if you speak to Zacharias, and he convinces you that the best option for you is to just let them carry on doing what they're doing, and everybody lives a happy life, but every month somebody has to be sacrificed to the mermaid. That's the best outcome. But what the book then says, what the adventure says, is that if you say, yeah, okay, we'll let you carry on, you turn your back, they will attack you because they don't want any witnesses.
They don't really have a choice.
That was the thing, and I think that's the issue throughout the whole adventure is you have no real choice to what is happening.
But Ingrid almost gave them an out. Ingrid was like, return the Merchild, and that should resolve it. And that was great.
Yeah, but that's not that makes it because he wants to be where he is. He's not there against his will. She's allowing him to be there because he's bringing sacrifices to her, and they're all having a great time.
But there's always a way to cheat the system. Ask Kirk.
No, it actually just added a complication.
We can't reprogram the adventure.
It added a complication to us because it's action economy that was lost in trying to get that done at one point. And I thought, wow, that's a really great idea. And so that might have stymied other actions that might have helped us, not get us hurt or not risk.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of you having to make that moral decision that you would have to make. Do you stop them from doing whatever they're doing, the herring dry up and everybody starves on the archipelago? Or do you let them carry on?
I mean, it would be more interesting if you actually had the choice.
And that was the problem. And that came down to a roll once again. And that was because poor old Valdis, the fear roll came up.
Yeah.
And obviously you failed the fear roll and you have then a choice of what to do. And I think, what you did was it was a logical choice to make when you said shoot, because you got your gun in your hand. There's something horrible and scary right there. You're a hunter. It makes sense that you would shoot or you would fight. Yeah. But as soon as that happened, that was it. The adventure was over, effectively. It was a fight at that point. And
so in essence, the choice was really, do we let the cannibals continue their cannibalistic activities and not risk our own lives and get away scot-free?
Yeah.
Or do we fight the cannibals and risk our lives?
Yeah.
Or do we capture the Vaesen sea mermaid and take him back to the castle and put him in the dungeon?
You haven't discovered yet. You can't because you haven't got them yet.
But no, but in the future...
just take it to the library. Here, read a book while we build a dungeon.
Yeah. That might be torture enough. Give him lots of books.
I feel like capturing one alive is probably more dangerous.
This is the thing, isn't it? This is the fundamental thing of the game, isn't it? It's why are we doing the investigating? That's the thing, isn't it? Why are we out there? Are we out there to kill Vaesen? Or are we out there to discover whether Vaesen are good, whether they're harm? Yeah. And ultimately... why have the Vaesen suddenly just changed? Because the folklore is that people have lived with Vaesen for centuries, and they used to help on the farms, and they used to bring gifts, and they used to be they were known. They were like good fairies that visited and helped with the farming and the weather, and then something happened which made the Vaesen change and start being evil. So that's really, I think that's something we have to on the next time we go forward, is that's the thing that we're here. Why did the Vaesen change? What is making them do this?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But you need an adventure that's sort of tailored to that. I don't know if like one of these sort of little one-shot booklets could ever.
I think every time we do a one-shot, I mean, what we could have found out is why are the mer people wanting this? Why is it when these children, it's like this, what are the mer people getting out of it? Why do they want to sacrifice in order to give us a good fish yield?
Yeah, I mean, there's all of that kind of stuff that's kind of going in the background, I suppose. But it's beyond the scope of the adventure that is in this book.
But it's knowledge that we should take with us onto the next ones. That's the thing, isn't it?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, does the adventure, from the GM aspect, deal with, how Abella felt about, Paul being sacrificed, or what was the story
There's
there?
absolutely no mention of it at all.
Well, that's the thing about published adventures, isn't it? And homebrewing and tailoring what you're doing. You are basically running down this pre-planned story of activities that are going to happen, things that the players do. And when players are players and they do something different, like say 3 hours to search every drawer in the chest in a bedroom,
good idea.
It totally takes you off thing, and that's the whole thing about improvising, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
Anything you do can be anything you want to do as a referee, as a GM, as a DM.
So yeah, and that was the thing, is there's no mention, there's no reference to Paul's sacrifice and how the family feels about it. So I played it that she was upset, but understood that it was necessary because the priest had killed himself. The mermaid needs a live body to go into the water, and so basically, Zacharias clocked Paul about the head and pushed him in instead. And so it basically that just meant that the herring kept flowing and the fishing can continue. So I think that I wanted to kind of portray her as being upset by it. Therefore, when Vlad pretends to be him, she was confused. But ultimately, it was a necessary evil. I mean, they're making reference to the fact that the dad, when Zacharias actually kills Benjamin, the real father of the family, that they all hated him anyway.
Oh,
hated
God.
the dad. So they were quite happy to see the back of him. So I mean, you could have said it's a similar situation with Paul. Perhaps it was a bully or whatever in the family, and it was good.
Rum bunch.
They were a rum bunch.
I actually really like the serendipity of when we went to the dinner, and Lloyd's character was missing because he's sneaking about, and there's the extra chair, and we go, yeah, well, where's Paul? We noticed there's an extra chair there. Like we just used that to kind of bring in that's supposed to be for Paul, and where is he? And that must have really killed the NPCs just to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, Abella, she was grumpy anyway. So
Paul was sneaking around upstairs as well. I just didn't mention him.
Yeah, that's right. It's on there.
Yeah, and so I think the last thing I think was the combat. There was like a big fight. It all boiled down to a big fight at the end, and I think the thing I wish I'd done differently. I do this every single time. I always say, you know what? Fuck maps. Maps are a pain in the arse. And then what did I go and do? I made a fucking map to put in the fight at the end. And I don't know, it slowed things down, in my opinion.
It takes away theatre. We've had this discussion time and time again about maps and the pros and cons. I mean, it gives them a basis to gauge where they are or what they want to do or something. But it, and it gives maybe a bit of scale, but also then it does put people in that position where they go, I'm going to move here and I'm going to move there. So they're more concentrating on the movement on the map than they are the role play or the game. And it's like, where can I see them? I can't see them. Okay, so I'll run forward a bit or something like that. Whereas when you have a map, you think you can see it all.
Yeah, and I kind of... I mean, the idea was I put the map out because basically I wanted just people to have a rough idea of to where they were. As I did say when we brought the map out that it's not a tactical map.
But did you have the map there because you were streaming it rather than...
There's elements of that as well.
Because, it's totally different. You look at the offline game, I mean, we barely had any. It was all theatre of the mind. It was all, what can I see? What can I do? Where am I? Whereas when you're streaming something, you're tailoring not only to the players that you have in your group, but to the wider audience that is watching.
I think you're absolutely right. You're very conscious of when you're playing a stream game that you want something for people in chat to be able to see as well. You don't want just, I mean, like we sat here, it's just been us all night with our lovely faces all evening. But you kind of, it's in your head that you kind of want to try and make things a little bit more visually interesting for people who are watching. So yeah, I normally would get around it by sticking like a picture in, like a backdrop, like a scene.
We'll do that next time.
The mood. Well, that's what I do. I did. But for some reason, I got it into my head that we needed a map for that. And the worst thing is, it was like 10 minutes before the first session. I thought, shit, they're going to get to the island in this first session. and I quickly did a map.
I think the way is also the way Vaesen interacts with distance and stuff as well. It's like if you just got rid of the grid on the map, it probably would have loosened it up a lot more. as well.
Yeah,
'cause it's,
I mean, I never put grids on the maps when I do it. There is a grid there, but I never
it's
show
a
it.
board thing. Yeah.
Like Susie, I'm a little bit of a rules lawyer, and what I appreciate about having the map there is that it will constrain me not to overrun with action economy, meaning it allows me to play fair, meaning I get a certain amount of actions. I'm going to make sure I'm not doing more than what anybody else could do in their 10 seconds.
That's a good point, because there's always that one player that wants to be in every point at the same, you know what I mean? There can be, like, we had...
But that's for the GM to control, right? I don't need it. I shouldn't need a map to do that. The thing is, if you've got a map in front of you, maybe you're less likely to come up with some kind of crazy idea, like you're going to rush forward and fly and kick this guy or whatever, and then we would invent a role that you could make it, and so you're kind of more moving tokens around the map, and you're less likely to think creatively, or maybe it's, but I think it was one thing I regret putting them for last session, and I say this every time I put a map up. I am never playing another fucking map.
Next time we play a game and he puts a map in.
Hold on. Sorry, Tony.
I was just going to say, the one thing I will say about the map that I think it did well with what we could actually see.
Yeah.
I think it portrayed well what we could actually see on that island because there was very low lighting and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the intention, I think. I didn't want it to play out like a tactical fight because, the rules don't really support that kind of play.
Yeah.
You've got games like, I keep just mentioning Dungeons and Dragons, which is very specific about how far you move and what actions you can do. And Vaesen is a little bit looser than that. And so the tactical, like a tactical map, is pretty pointless. So it was just there as a rough idea, so people can.
That's all I used it as. I just used it.
Yeah. I think bringing a map into it changed the dynamic a little bit of play. Personally, that's how I felt, and I as I say, every time I do it, I always go, you know what, never again.
Well, no, because I think you're wrong on this one, because I don't think any of us used it like in the respect of like.
No, nobody did. No, they didn't. But I think it becomes more of a moving tokens around a board kind of.
I think you're wrong. We didn't do that.
I mean, you can move your tokens, but it's how you describe it. Like,
yeah. I just feel
it also allowed us to have our bases covered. I mean, there are X amount of, targets and adversaries, and it made the situation manageable, I believe.
Yeah. I just don't know if it kind of dragged out the combat a little bit more because
it didn't.
But,
you're wrong.
And my experience with maps is the more detailed ones have been a problem. It's the ones, those beautiful animated ones where you've got mice scurrying around and letters on things. And everyone gets so focused on, there are some letters over there, I want to go and look at them, rather than saying, hey, I want to go look at the desk, is there anything on it? And it's keeping the maps sufficiently low tech, I guess.
Yeah.
That it can be aesthetically pleasing, but still have sufficiently little there that you need to engage your brain and not just parrot off what you see in a picture.
Yeah, perhaps. Anyway, that was my.
We're going to do a short session.
I think in terms of the actual adventure, I think the one that I played with your group, Strain, was probably a stronger adventure. I think it was. I preferred. I think it, in terms of mood, it was better. I think it was probably creepier.
It was creepier because there was a smaller cast of non-player characters.
Yeah.
We interacted with the key people rather than unnecessary people, and it was one location, it was one inn, and then you had the area underground. But it was one inn rather than a large location as well. So I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed both. I had a great time, and I you're all fantastic. I mean, both games that I played in it, I've really enjoyed. And I've really enjoyed the characters that everybody's created as well. So thanks everybody for being amazing. And thank you, Dave, as well, even though you're not here. But you were great. And,
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I think, would we play again? Everybody interested in playing again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to play again, I think.
Yes.
So,
And I'm kind of sad it's over. I was like really liking the, I love the investigation thing and the fact that with it, and I'm quite looking forward to the British one.
Mythic Britain. Yeah.
I think it depends on how they do it, I think. Like,
Well, I know the guy that's written it. I don't know him. I know of him. Graham Davis, and from I think it's White Dwarf days, isn't it?
Graham Davies, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and he's good. So I've got no worries. I've got no worries about Mythic Britain and Ireland. I think it's going to be a quality.
Haven't you got the PDFs yet for it or not?
I do. Have I read them? No.
Well,
but that's the thing. I've got the rest of A Wicked Secret Deal. I got three scenarios left of that. I also got Seasons of Mystery as well, which is another 4, all set in the Scandinavian side of things. So maybe if people are wanting to carry on, perhaps we'll carry on with that first, and then we'll go into Mythic Britain and Ireland if there's still interest in playing Vaesen by that point. But
it's where we're going to fit it in, because if we do it offline, that's not a problem. We can fit it in around all the players. But if we do it online, we're not even you're looking
November.
Yeah.
Extra day.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, we're fine with extra days streaming. The problem we've got is everybody.
It's finding people to stream it.
That's the problem we've got. It's like getting the poor old streamers to put in another day. Really,
we're not always fantastic because our streamers,
Yeah, but the other way we could look at doing it is something that me and Tony have talked about in the past, is that we play it offline and we set it up and we record it and then we can just put it up onto YouTube. It's something we've talked about in the past, so it's just like because some of the offline games that we've been having have been tremendous, and it's a shame we don't get to share them. So, maybe it's a way we could look, to give these streamers a bit of, unless someone can do it, we can, all these fantastic games that are happening, if we can find a way of recording them when we're offline and then editing them and then just getting them onto YouTube. It's still a way of sharing them, without having the whole streaming.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that works.
It's a different experience, I think, when you're streaming a game as well and when you're not streaming. I think there's a lot more pressure.
The only problem we'd have with that is it's like the editing. It's like we'd have to have a couple of people that might have to like take the the video that we. Yeah,
you might notice I've not put any up this week because I'm a lazy bastard.
And I think streaming is more beneficial because it helps if I know that I'm going to be on YouTube but not streaming. That might lead me to forget I'm going to be on YouTube, so I better act this by streaming.
Well, we'll remind you, don't worry. But I mean, we're happy to stream on other days. But the problem is we sort of have like 3 fundamental streamers, which is Andy, Lloyd, and Croy.
They're all brilliant, by the way. They're all amazing.
No, you're cute.
And so yeah.
No, you're cute.
I know.
So it's just finding a way, like if someone was like to say, oh yeah, we'll play on a Wednesday night and we'll stream it, then it's like, yeah, it's fine. But I think Screen's going to try and pick up some of the streaming as well. So
yeah, masks.
Yeah, so
which still has faces.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think there's a couple of games that are coming up, and we need to do a proper admin this weekend, don't we? Because there's talk of Fate and
Tech Noir. I'm really excited about Tech Noir.
Tech Noir. We've got to sort masks out. There's a few games I need to look at.
Tales of the Infinite.
Tales of the Infinite. We need to sort out. So yeah,
yes,
yes, there's a few things that we need to have a look at, and then we've got Twilight sorted, isn't it?
Yeah, all players have returning.
Boris.
Yeah, but I mean, don't even go down. I mean, poor old Brian put himself up for Fate, Tech Noir, and he even jumped into the Stargate chat.
He didn't. He was kind of
coerced.
He kind of said, "I might be able to." Oh, that was it. Next thing he knows,
he got caught up in the TTRPG chat.
He did.
He volunteered for lots of things.
Yeah.
His name's on it now. That's it.
Yep.
He ran one ring for us, and that was great. That was a great game. I enjoyed that a lot. So I'm looking forward to...
Anyway, we digress. So this is why you have to join the Discord. It's like, because in like RPG Club, all these things get discussed about and new games, and they buy games and then they talk about it, and everyone goes, oh my God, I really want to play that. And then we end up having to like try and find a day or a GM or a spot for everybody. It's just...
Well, this game of Vaesen was because it was so popular, you had to open a second one up.
There was a few people wanted to play. We still have this issue because I might have to run 2 games. I don't know, maybe.
Oh, what you do is next time you do some people from one group and the other group. Do a session there, and then the section after the adventure after that. It's mixing, and that way you build up the knowledge for the society and everyone.
I mean, sometimes you might have to mix the groups up because, like, someone might be on an holiday, and there might be at Brighton Pier in their long swimming suits up to the knees.
I do not recommend Brighton Pier ever.
Was that just the first one that popped into your head?
It was nice a long time ago. It's not,
It's never been nice. It's not been nice in the last 40 years.
Yeah, but this is not 40 years ago, though, is it?
It was pretty cool in the 19th century.
Yeah, it was the place to be.
West Pier, that was cool until the people who own Palace Pier burnt it, West Pier down.
Wow, controversy.
Might be a little bit.
That could have been a mermaid. There's no proof.
What add-ons are we getting for our house?
Well, I was thinking.
I was going to get a conservatory.
I was thinking. So there's 1, 2, 3. How many of us on? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of us on stream.
And Dave in.
What happened to the annals?
7 of us. So how many points does that give us each? Does that give us enough to all make one decision? Oh, that doesn't really work then, does it?
Or we have it that Dave and I spend 8 points and you guys spend 6 points.
Oh, there's that.
Did we only get 6?
Yeah.
I thought we decided on that annals thing.
I told you the first adventure was stronger.
I mean, if we get the infirmary and the annals, that's 10 points.
Why do we want the annals? Why do we want annals?
You get more XP every adventure.
I've lost that thing again, I'll put it up.
In that case, let's go for infirmary, the annals, and the psychiatrist uses the 14 points.
The psychiatrist, do we need any prerequisites for the psychiatrist or anything?
A player must become mentally broken during the mystery. Yeah.
Oh, so I don't get my botanical garden then?
Not yet. We need a gardener first for that, don't we?
Yeah.
I do like the idea there's a job offer. They'll be like, we have a very broken person for you to look at if you're curious.
I think, to be fair, we'd all be a bit broken. I think we're all going to have a session. We'd have just killed 1,000 odd people.
I didn't. The mermaid did. The mermaid chose to do it. They didn't have to do it. No one forced them to make a tidal wave.
Maybe we should get the psychologist to go and speak to the mermaid.
I mean...
You're like, hey, look, the herring are back.
Well, whatever happens, let's go for the infirmary.
Yeah, we need to mend our bodies.
The infirmary will be a good one.
How many points?
I'm still going to go in favour of the seance parlour because it gives us extra clues before a mystery.
Yeah.
Ooh. Didn't read that.
But it costs 5.
Does cost 5, and it means that I have to try and think of those. Thanks very much.
I mean, if we had that before the last adventure, we'd have been like, oh, we know exactly what it is, because it's like 5 clues. In the entire thing.
It's mermaid.
It's a mermaid. They do the rituals that's over there, and some kind of rock.
Yeah. Tricky.
You know what? Vlad is going to vote for Strain's idea, only because
I go with that.
He did write a book about psychoanalysts and squirrels. He called that book Mixed Nuts.
No problem.
Psychoanalysts and squirrels. That's amazing.
Okay, so we're going for a psychiatrist as our 4 points of contact, then, yes?
Oh, I mean, is there? There's. I mean,
Well, the psychiatrists help with mental conditions, and then the infirmary helps with physical. Not that scary.
Jeez.
Just stand up for yourself, man.
Damn it, I've added it to the character
I've learned
sheet.
the country from most of you, so it's all right.
Can we tack our way into another XP point?
Yeah.
Well,
No, you did hear that she likes to manipulate the rules to get what she wants.
Well, you just have to hold a seance without the seance room, but then, okay.
You can't. The seance room allows you to do seance from a distance.
Oh.
If we're able to
We'll make a compromise then. The
XP
next
point-
room we get is the seance room then. After we've done the next adventure, we'll get more points.
Yeah.
And because once we've got the seance room, we can then get the occult library, I think.
Yeah, provided the person who does the seances doesn't die in the next adventure.
There is that.
That's
There
a
is
bit of
that.
a point, yeah.
Incentive to keep me alive?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, because if we don't keep you alive, we could have a botanical garden.
So we're going for the annals of the society, then, yes? Is that consensus?
What do we get for getting these anals things?
An extra experience point.
Every
Which
5
means we can.
adventures, you get a new skill or an
Oh.
upgrade.
Like a little pearl of wisdom.
So is that a yes? Is that a yes? Yes, yes, yes.
I just agree to anything. I don't care really. I wanted new furniture and
Let's
get
go
rid
for
of
it.
the mouse and the rats.
Okay.
but
I think we
Can't
can,
have that.
as actual players, like as characters, can go around, killing the rats, and we have 2 dogs as well.
That's a good point. If we kill the rats, we can get XP.
The scene that we're playing in the first game and the next one is you lot will be doing some investigating. I'm going to be doing some cleaning and mending of the bloody furniture.
That's interesting.
Well, that's okay. That you can miss out the next adventure session then, and because you're
I'll
busy,
stay at the
you're
castle.
busy cleaning and tidying. Yes.
I
yes.
will.
Okay,
What
we
is
have
it?
six
Andrew's got-
points left.
Yeah,
Oh, you
Lyme
got that.
Lyme
God
disease
is
or
going to
whatever.
have a fit with you.
Oh, we could have got a caretaker who mends it.
I mean, I think it would. I would have assumed like we can do little bits like the furniture and stuff because it doesn't affect what we do massively.
Red Monk,
Yeah.
did you tell Mark that we're going to have mend the castle?
What are we having?
Just tell him that we're allowed to mend the castle and that.
I mean, we could put the butler to work to do it. Like he doesn't really do much else all
Now,
day.
he's doing his best. He's an old fella, isn't he?
I don't trust that man.
And Ange
Well,
doesn't trust
I
him.
mean, we're going to have downtime between the adventures, right? We're going to have to do
Decorating.
stuff. And so I saw Dave in chat was desperate for us to make the castle pink.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, good idea.
Dave.
I'm not sure that's something you could just do with a castle.
So we have 6 points left. Come on.
Hold on, what have you got for so far?
So at the moment we've either got infirmary or we've got the the seance room. So let's have a consensus. Okay, so Jake, seance room or infirmary?
It's tough. I'm actually going to go with seance room. I think
Okay.
it's more cool.
Tony?
No.
See, well, we've got our fake doctor, so I'm thinking the sales room. To be fair.
Okay, so we got two, and 1. Dave says the infirmary. Let's go, Red Monk. Come on, seance room. Yes, I don't even need to ask. So that's 3-1. Angie, what do you reckon?
Oh, I want the seance room. I want to go
That's
into
4-1.
I want to
Okay.
go into the cult and call people to
Yeah,
us.
I was going to go for the
4-1.
infirmary because,
Four,
clues
so-
don't matter if you're dead.
Okay, even if I go for the infirmary, we still lose. Yes, we have the seance room then. Yes,
Okay.
Wait, to be fair, didn't you say Dave was a doctor?
Dave is a doctor.
A real
Yes.
doctor.
It doesn't matter anymore.
So the seance room costs you.
Thank
5.
God Brit's not here.
So
Five.
we have basically 1 point left over. We've spent 13.
Okay, so we can't get the annals either.
I thought that was included.
Annals is in there. Yeah, the Annals is there.
All right. Okay, I thought it was extra.
And Annals is 4. Seance Room is 5.
Okay.
Yeah, the first person, you're right, Dave, the first person that comes through on the seance room is going to be Strain's dead character.
Oh, yeah.
No, we can start work on the infirmary, but it won't
Yes.
quite be complete yet.
Okay. So the seance room. What was your second one?
We had the psychiatrist, which was 4.
4, was it?
4 for the psychiatrist.
All in private list.
Oh, shit, I forgot he has this thing to do against us.
Okay.
I mean, it was going to happen anyway.
Oh, that's
And then-
right.
And then we have the Annuals of the Society as the last one, which was again 4.
The
Oh.
Fancy guest book.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I would love it if it's the annals that gets us. The rooms are fine.
Okay, so I'll make a note of that. And when the next time we play, we'll see whether or not we get any threat, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Vlad would very much like to know the name of the psychiatrist. I have a funny feeling I will be occupying a lot of his time telling about a lot of the stories that I hold.
Okay, the name of the psychiatrist is Isaac Ulrich Larson.
Is it like a double barrel first name?
Is Vlad going to be filling in the Annals of Society?
Oh, spell Isaac wrong.
Yeah, you probably have, because, you know,
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
Swedish.
My,
No, it's not going to be how anybody expects it to spell.
I'll let you change it. Yes, too late. I'm tired.
It is. So much was being a short session.
Isaac.
Someone lied to me.
I don't know what we expected, to be fair.
It's true. No, Isaac.
It was like a multiple thing session. So
Yeah.
Well, I had great fun.
you look at the annals, and the annals are like, did you participate in the session? Confront any Vaesen?
You get some experience points for taking part in this session.
Well, I think it's like 11:30. We haven't done the personal experience for the character, so I think we should do that offline anyway.
No, I mean, that's dead easy though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 5 XP. You get to increase one of your skills by 1, or you get to choose a new talent, and it can be any talent from anywhere.
Yeah, that's the part that takes time.
Yeah.
Or you can increase your resources.
Yes, I think.
Well, that's technically a talent. I think at least on Forge, Foundry, whatever.
Yeah.
So potentially, because we've all got 10, we can do 2.
Yeah, you can get 2 talents, or you can increase one of your skills, or you can.
Nice.
Or you can.
I think the way they are Foundry is you have the wealthy talent that adds 1 to your resources.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'll have to read up on the talents, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
I bumped my stealth up.
Why is
Guess
that?
I get volunteered for sneaking again.
Well, you are the detective.
Well,
I'm a detective, not a cat burglar.
Detective.
I don't think you know how detectives work.
Yeah.
They work however we want them to.
Yes, which is they aren't cat burglars.
Anyway, so are we done? Are we winding this up?
We're done. Yes, I think we are.